From tonight at sundown until sundown tomorrow, Israelis commemorating its annual Holocaust Remembrance Day, or Yom HaShoah. The scars from the attempted extermination of the Jewish people as part of Hitler's final solution still felt just as strongly today, nearly 8 decades later. For one, worldwide Jewry today numbering just around 14.8 million people, still 1.8 million fewer than in 1939, before the genocide truly began. And of the remaining survivors living in Israel, themselves slowly dwindling with age, just 180,000 are counted by official figures. Prime Minister Netanyahu and his wife Sarah meeting with the 6 survivors chosen this year to light the torches at tonight's ceremony to hear their stories.
אני היחידי חזרתי, לא מצאתי לא משפחה ולא קרובים, אז אני אין מה לעשות ביוון. אני הולך עכשיו לישראל, וזה היה גם כן צרות, כשהאנגלים לא נתנו לנו להיכנס. ואנחנו קראנו לחוף, והאנגלים רדפו אחרינו עם ספינות. קפצתי לים בלילה, ב-11 בלילה, שחיתי, לא תפסו אותי, את כולם תפסו, שלחו אותו.
אנחנו היינו כמו אבק ברוח, העם שלנו. לפני 300 שנים היינו אבק אדם. עשו בנו כברצונם והיינו עלי נידף. עכשיו אתם יושבים פה בחדר הקבינט של ממשלת ישראל. בחדר הזה מתקבלות החלטות כמעט כל יום, באות גם לבנות את המדינה שלנו, אבל גם להילחם באלה שרוצים להשמיד אותה. כי הצוררים לא נעלמו, הם פשוט החליפו צורה וכתובת. הם עדיין שם. עכשיו תסתכלו על המפה הזאת. רואים את ישראל. היא מדינה קטנה, היא כמעט אחת המדינות הקטנות בעולם. היא מדורגת היום כמעצמה השמינית, לא על ידינו, על ידי מכון מחקר, ששואל 20,000 בעלי דעה ברחבי מדינות רבות. כל שנה שואלים, ישראל מדורגת על ידם כמעצמה השמינית בעולם. כוח החיים שלכם הוא כוח החיים של העם שלנו, שחזר למקום הזה, הקים את המדינה הזאת. ובעצם יחד אנחנו מחוללים כאן את הפלא שאתם חוללתם כל אחד ואחת מכם בחיים שלכם. זה פלא גדול.
Now joining us today for more on Yad Vashem's special annual torch lighting ceremony, as well as the Holocaust Memorial Museum's newly updated online exhibit, senior historian with the International Institute for Holocaust Research at Yad Vashem, Rob Rozett. Rob, thank you so much for being with us. Now, there are 2 main events. The first is the annual Yad Vashem torch lighting ceremony. Tell us a little bit about what the ceremony will include this year and what the theme is.
Well, first of all, the theme is Until the Very Last Jew, 80 years since the onset of mass annihilation, because it was in the summer of 1941 that the Nazis and their partners began systematic mass shooting of Jews in the areas of the Soviet Union they were conquering. The ceremony, of course, is a ceremony in which the president, the prime minister take part, as well as Holocaust survivors. And at the moment, we have a temporary chairman of Yad Vashem. All of them will take part. The president will speak, as will the prime minister. Ronen Plot, who is the temporary chairman, will light the flame, the main flame of remembrance that is lit every year. And a survivor by the name of Rozett will speak in the name of the survivors. In addition to that, there are readings and there are some musical songs that are sung, but in this year it will be David Daor and Messi Kleinstein. So it will be a moving and interesting ceremony as we have the 6 survivors light the 6 torches in remembrance of the 6 million Jews who were murdered. There will also be video presentations about who they were, what they went through, and their lives afterwards.
All right, so I know you said that we're going to hear obviously more at the ceremony tonight, but can you give us a little bit of a glimpse, perhaps a personal story of one of the Holocaust survivors who will be lighting a torch this year?
Yes, one of them is a woman by the name of Zahava Gilel, and she was born in 1935 in The Hague in the Netherlands, meaning that she was a little girl during the Holocaust years, which is pretty much how the survivors are today. They were mostly children at the time, or teenagers at most. because of the time that's passed. And her story is a story of where, when they were taken in 1942 to be arrested, to be deported, sent to an interim camp, a transit camp called Westerbork, her father said to the Dutch policemen and the Germans accompanying them that all the children are sick. And so the Germans said, okay, prove it. And they went to a doctor, and the doctor saw how pale the father was, and he said, these children are sick. And so they didn't take the children, but they did take the father. And eventually the father was murdered in Auschwitz, but the children and their mother were not taken at that point. Later on, they were taken to the Westerbork camp. But they had a grandfather in America who sent them papers showing that they were actual Romanian citizens, and therefore they were in a special category, and they weren't deported immediately either. Sent to another camp, back to Westerbork, and finally they were deported in the spring of 1944 to a camp called Ravensbrück, and there they managed to survive. So it's a story of where the father really did something that managed to save his family, although he did not survive, and where, of course, there was a great deal of resilience afterwards. Zahava came to Israel, she married, she became a nurse, and she worked for 50 years as a nurse even after she had retired.
It's incredible. So now I understand there's also an online exhibit. What is the exhibit called, and what's the idea behind it?
Yeah, there's a new online exhibit called The Onset of Mass Murder, The Fate of Jewish Families in 1941. Because as we discuss and teach about the Holocaust, we don't just talk about major concepts and trends, we also go down to the level of family and individual, because that's what people can identify with the most. And so this exhibit tells the story of a number of families and what happened to them in the wake of the onslaught of the policy of mass murder that, again, begins already in the summer of 41 as mass murder and then coalesces into a policy later that year and early into 1942. So again, we tell a number of stories there of families and what happened to the families in the wake. And of course, the stories are not happy stories because many people in the families didn't survive, but always there is a survivor. The other thing I should say is that all of the material is based on material in Yad Vashem, in the archive collection and in the artifacts collection that we have, the photographs, the art museum. All of these are brought into play in order to show the stories of these people.
All right, well, taking part in tonight and tomorrow's commemorations are, of course, important, and it's very important to honor those who were lost, but as well, really, for the present and the future. So if you have the time, everyone watching, please check out Yad Vashem's annual torchlighting ceremony that is honoring these 6 Holocaust survivors as well, who will be taking place. It'll be taking place tonight with a live feed at 8 p.m. Israel time or 1 p.m. United States Eastern Standard Time. And going along with that, please visit the special online exhibit titled The Onset of Mass Murder. Both can be accessed on Yad Vashem's official website.
Yeah,
Rob
I just
Rozett,
would add
thank you so
through
much.
the website, it can be also seen in English, French, Spanish, German, Hebrew, and Russian, tonight's ceremony.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.